What's up, everyone? The Big Brother comic competition has been played and a player has won the power of veto, but who was it and what are they going to do with it as we hurtle in towards the rest of the week, guys? So welcome to your live feed update. Jumping straight into the results of the Big Brother comic veto competition, Nicole has cleaned up shop for the week and won the veto alongside the HOH competition, so she has total control over the nominees this week. Does she have control over the eviction? No, but she does have control over who is the nominees at the end of the week. Straight off the bat, guys, I'm throwing the question to you. Do you think Nicole will use the power of veto? And if she will use it, who do you think she's going to use it on? And then let me know your predictions for who you think is actually going to be evicted this week. I think it's looking very, very likely that Memphis is headed out the door now. I think unless Nicole would get her head together with Enzo and make... I wouldn't think for a minute she would do this. Not even for a split second, she will not do this. But if she got her head together with Enzo and maybe made a play to take one of the nominees off the block, made a deal with them, put Cody back up on there and then send Cody out the door, that would obviously be... a power move that could probably seal Nicole's victory should she make it to the final two. Because if Enzo had won the power of veto, he could have made that power move, which I don't think he would have done. But Nicole is now in the position to try and do something like that. Not for a second do I think she'll do it, but it would be an incredible move should she try and, or if she was to try and pull it off and did it successfully. Left scrambling, Christmas and Memphis were panicking, basically saying what they got to do essentially to try and get off the block and try and persuade Nicole to target someone else. So Christmas was sort of saying to Memphis that she believes that Nicole will be a lot more receptive to her than Memphis, so that she said she'd go and talk to her, and they said they'd try and strike up some sort of deal. It's pretty much a lost cause now, but I think they were going to try anyway, whether that deal be, look, Nicole, I'll take you to the final two, or I'll use the veto on you next week. But I think Nicole's pretty much made her mind up, which we'll talk about right in a second. Nicole sat down with Enzo and Cody and confirmed that she will not be using the power of veto and she is happy with sending Memphis home. And she brought up the statement of saying that Memphis thinks that she sucks at the game, but she said, not anymore. Obviously, with all of the allies intertwined at the moment, it's going to be a huge, gigantic shock for Memphis when he realises he is very likely getting evicted on Thursday night. He was going up to Cody and Enzo sort of saying, look, this is a good scenario. We can just send Christmas straight out the door. Nicole will even send Christmas out the door if it's a tie. So Memphis is going to be in for one hell of a ride on Thursday night, and I think we may get our first essential blindside unless they sit him down before of the season. I think, we had a little bit of a blindside going on with Danny, and I think Tyler was sort of figured out he was going out beforehand, but I feel like if Memphis isn't told this is going to be a total and utter first blindside of the season, I can imagine it going down in the same sort of style of Jason from BB19, where he sort of, he'd been tight with Alex all season long, then he just picked his bags up and walked straight out the door without saying goodbye to anyone. I think yeah, it was pretty big moment. I think quite a few people did that in BB19. I remember Cody walking over the table, but a few people did say goodbye. One of my favourite goodbyes was Kevin's goodbye message to Matt in BB19. That was hilarious. It was like, Matt, take care, goodbye, and then that was it. It was just perfect. It was legendary. Best goodbye message ever. Just thought I'd give that a little shout out because Kevin from BB19 is a legend, but I think Memphis is not going to be very, very happy when he realises he's heading out the door this week. Enzo was reevaluating his options for the week, yo, bro, with Cody, and he was sort of saying, yo, this is the way we should go potentially, or it could be this way, yo, what does Nicole want? Obviously, Nicole wants Memphis out, yo, but maybe we should do this, Cody, yo, I think, bro, this might be good for our game, and they were sort of going backwards and forwards with a million more bros, and yo-yo-yos, and then, about 10,000 bros and yos later, Cody started evaluating both sides, sort of saying, this is the scenario of sending Christmas out the door, this is the scenario of sending Memphis out the door, and he basically settled on the fact that either way, I think both of those nominees, no matter who stays, is going to be going for both of them next week. So Enzo was like, yeah, I get that, yo, bro, yo, bro, yo. Cody and Nicole were talking at one point, and Cody was giving Nicole intel that Memphis had told Cody. There's a lot of he said, she said here, but Cody was telling Nicole that Memphis told Cody that Christmas was going to try and get Nicole to use the veto, and pat on the back for remembering that one, Tom. But yeah, he was sort of telling her all that information, and Nicole was basically saying that Christmas is crazy. She is not going to use it no matter what, and they were sort of, again, just going through all the options, sort of saying, are we sure we really want to get rid of Memphis this week? And they said it makes sense because they said that they can beat Christmas in comps easier than Memphis, because Christmas is somebody who plays a comp and she's already trying to look every single direction, seeing what everybody else is doing, and then she cracks under the pressure when she sees someone is nearly at the end of a competition or nearly completed their part of the comp, and then she panics and then screws up, and then she has to start from scratch. So they feel like Christmas is going to be the easier person to beat. But Nicole had some worries about Enzo, worrying that Enzo may cut her in the final four, but they basically evaluated, look, Cody said it's not going to happen. Enzo's not going to take you out. We're going to steamroll next week by taking Christmas out, and then we all all make our way to the final 3, and Enzo's not going to beat either of us or either of us in a competition, and then the 2 of us can sit in the final 2, and then it'll be Cody versus Nicole as the BB All-Star champ. After Christmas had planted the seed about Nicole using the veto, she suggested Memphis go up to Nicole and talk about, plant a few seeds there about getting Cody and Enzo out. Obviously, that is going to stitch up his game totally little to their knowledge. It will just damage his game further and make Nicole want to get him out even more. But it seems as though Memphis is definitely likely going home this week, and then it comes down to with Christmas and Enzo, can they make a big enough dent to break up? Because I think the best move for them two would be to get together next week, because it's just going to be Cody and Nicole picking the 2 of them off, and then they're in the final 2. They are literally on a warpath now to get to the final 2. Nothing, very little is going to stop them, but it's going to come down to a case of, has Christmas waited 3 years to place 3rd again, or has Enzo waited 10 years to place 3rd again? Christmas also made a very valid point of remembering to tell Memphis to tell Nicole, or bring up the notion that if Nicole takes Cody to the final 2, Cody would still even beat her in that scenario, and I do believe that's the case, even though Nicole has sort of started to shape up her game, especially this week. It's what Janelle said, she essentially doesn't really do much for the first 9 or 10 weeks, then all of a sudden she gets going, and then she's on a warpath to the final, and it seems though she may be doing the same tactic again, but I think because Cody's played quite consistently the whole way through, Cody's going to take the win, and I do think the jury this year are the type of folk who aren't willing to reward someone to win the game twice. I think they want to see a new winner, so I think Cody has it in the bag. I think Nicole is totally blind to that, and I don't think she realises that Cody's going to beat her. So if Nicole really wants to make a power move, take out Memphis, take out Christmas, and take out Cody, or even maybe take out Enzo and take Christmas to the final 2, because I think Nicole can probably beat Enzo or even Christmas, potentially Memphis, but Memphis has got a good track record. It really comes down to if the jury are bitter or not. I think the safest bet for Nicole to win the game would be to take Enzo or Christmas to the final 2, because even though we see Enzo as a good game player, the house isn't really seeing Enzo as a game player. I think he's seen as sort of a Victoria from BB16, someone who hasn't had much consistency and much gameplay, and sort of floated their way to the final, and there's nothing wrong with floating. It's just Enzo hasn't actually done that, but that's sort of the perceived strategy of his in the house, which isn't often a respected gameplay style by the jury. Cody and Nicole are starting to feel very confident that they can make it to the end now, and they were sort of reflecting on the game and everything that's happened, and they actually brought up the fact that Janelle and Kesa had warned them about people in the house beforehand, and acknowledged that they were right about some people, and they had that gut feeling. They ignored them at the time, but they acknowledge it right now. It was a nice wholesome sort of full circle moment. Things don't seem to be too smooth between Janelle and Nicole at the moment, but we'll see how things turn out when Nicole leaves the house and meets up with Janelle. Even if they do meet up, I'm sure they're going to have to communicate at some point. Enzo continues to play both sides as he is palling up with Memphis as usual, and Memphis was sort of saying, he doesn't believe one chance that Nicole is going to use the veto, but I'm pretty sure Memphis is still sitting confidently as if he is going to be kept around by them, and it doesn't help that Enzo's continually sort of saying, we've got to tell Cody, wise guys this, and plant that seed in his head, continuing to say wise guys to implement that big alliance, or this solid alliance that's going to get them to the final 3, but I don't think Cody's going to go along with that. I think he's realised that it's Memphis' time up, and he needs to cut people, and he's doing it at exactly the right time. It's like bomb defusal. You've got to cut the wires at the right time, and you've got to make sure that you're cutting them in the right order in order for everything to be diffused efficiently for you to benefit from it at the end. And I just think it's sort of the perfect anecdote for when you're getting down to the end. You've got to be so intricate and careful with your moves, and I think Cody is doing that exactly, but Enzo needs to be careful because it's going to damage his social game if he is lying straight up to their faces and then ends up voting them out, unless Enzo pulls the old switcheroo, sends it to a tie, and makes Nicole take out Memphis, which will make Memphis pretty much mad at Nicole. Lots and lots of moves, and I don't think Enzo's stupid enough to totally give himself up like that, because I think he's covered himself nearly every single eviction so far, and people have gone to the jury house and nobody's really been that mad at Enzo, and also nobody's still targeting him at this point as well, so I think he must be doing something right, and I think everybody's playing very, very intricately and carefully right now as we head into the final stages of the battle for someone to win the war. To sum everything up, Nicole won the HOH competition this week, and then she won the veto competition, which was the famed BB Comics comp. So she's cleaning up shop this week, and she is very likely not going to use the power of veto, and Memphis will very likely be heading out the door, potentially a blindside. So it's an exciting week ahead. Lots and lots more gameplay, obviously, to happen before the eviction starts, but then we're down to the final 4, and really the way I view the final 4 is I think it all comes down to the veto. It doesn't matter if you're HOH or you're a nominee, it all comes down to the veto. veto, and that's really what matters in the Final Four. So important, and it really is anyone's game, and things can often just shake up just like that. You know, I think everyone assumed that Tyler and Angela were going to make it to the Final 2 in BB20, and then Angela went out the door. I think Tyler and Angela were actually on the block together, and then they were split up, and then they went to the Final 3 with Casey, JC, and Tyler. You know, with Tyler then ended up losing the game in the Final 2. I think Tyler would have won the game if he was with Angela. Lots and lots of things that you think are going to happen can just go and disappear just like that in the Final 4. So very exciting times ahead. But I think very likely Nicole is not going to use the veto, and Memphis is going to place in 5th place. That is all of your game updates for today, folks. Thank you very, very much, everyone, for watching. I hope you've all had a fantastic weekend and have a great rest of Sunday, guys. But thank you again for watching. I really appreciate every single one of you, guys. You can check out the description for a few interactive fun features. You can follow me on Instagram down there and Twitter down there. And also, you can become a patron of TV Talks with Tom. So there's a few interactive features in the description, guys. So go check that out. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. But until your next live feed update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.